my thought process. So as I like to say, put your tin foil hats, right? So the interaction with the 70k level. Now the first thing which I want to mention is that I like to take things into confluence and look at the bigger picture. I want to look at what exactly is Nasdaq doing, what is the dollar doing, the euro, and then I'm gonna jump into trading lower cap assets such as, you know, Bitcoin, Ethereum. So the first thing which I want to show you is actually let's come in here, let's open this one. So I sent an email in the newsletter, right, where I spoke about is the Nasdaq top-in, and I showed just a few charts, not much because it's public, right? So as you know, I have private network and I sent most of my information there, but this is what I showed to the public. We hit a macro channel parallel top, and we also hit let me just show you here. So we did hit a FIP extension and also a FIP time. So this is all that I needed to put things into perspective. Okay, we're gonna have deeper correction on Nasdaq, something like double-digit %, right? And then I hopped back into the stocks and I looked into the top stocks, right? What's the top stocks that influence the Nasdaq? What are the top 3 tech stocks? So the first thing was Apple. So pretty much you can pause, you can read the text. I'm not gonna go through it and explain what is written here because you can clearly see it. So I looked into Apple, then I looked into Microsoft, okay, then I looked into Nvidia, right, then looked into Tesla, then looked into the dollar index, which at that time was looking bullish, right? Okay, I'm gonna jump into the dollar index when I look at all the charts, but at this time it was looking bullish and we did had a nice push up, right? Then I would like to look at gold, etc. However, I like to look at the Nasdaq first, and Nasdaq at that time at 20.5 was looking disgusting, and this is what I texted in the Discord, right? I'm gonna show you. So coming into Nasdaq, so Nasdaq first time showing a break of structure with an imbalance since the month of May. So let me just zoom into that image. Okay, so the price is 20.5. This is pretty much the top. If we look at Nasdaq, this is pretty much here. So let me just tell you something. An imbalance, when you move from a balanced market to an imbalanced market, this is the first signature of shifting to the dynamics of the market, right? Because if you think about it, a market is nothing more than just transactions between buyers and sellers, and when you see a selling imbalance coming in, pretty much this means that maybe the bulls are exhausted or bears want to take control, right? So this is the first kind of sign of weakness which I did see. Now we continue on the high time frame, 1-to-1 extension, and also on the weekly it was way too stretched, right? So if you look at the weekly time frame, this kind of looks as the top before 2022. And then I said I would push on more shorts. Also on the 30-minute you are back below some EMAs. However, my trend system of equities is showing me that it's still actually uptrending, and before I get into aggressive shorts I want to see it flip bearish. If not, you know, before a significant flip I would not flip bearish on the trend on the 4-hour. And then later on we had like a push down and weekly looked as a reversal. Pretty much this is I like to look at the weekly candles to identify trends, because the weekly candle, doesn't matter which asset you're trading, is very important in the way it closes. So pretty much that's why I wanted to see how the weekly is gonna close, right? So let me come back into this. So this is the way it looked. So indecision and then a selling imbalance, right? And if you look left, you don't have much of a support on the left side. You have one bullish engulfing, one very strong candle, another one, and then comes the exhaustion, and just sellers take control, right? Now this is what I said. Major stocks are looking bearish considering the past 2 weekly closes. And then I explained the same thing I sent into the newsletter, right? And then we had pretty much bearish continuations on Nasdaq, right? So even in terms of levels, what did I say about the levels? Let me just show you quickly. If we lose 19,930, I'm looking forward to 18,350 or 17,530, right? Where did we bottom yesterday? 17.5, pretty much. Yeah, the bottom was 17.4, but 17.5, considering the volatility was very, very accurate. This is about Nasdaq, right? I'm gonna jump into Bitcoin in just a second. Let me just see the chat and see what's going on there. Okay. So, coming into Bitcoin explanation. So about Bitcoin, I'm gonna jump back in the history so you can get my thought process about it. And then I'm gonna jump into this chart and show you why did I choose these levels. So I actually had 2 entries, right? The first one was before the weekly. This was around that Trump speech. We got that drop, then we had another push up. However, I did have 2 entries, and on the first one I got stopped, and it's part of the game, right? If you have an idea and you get stopped but the idea is not invalidated, because you can get into situations where you enter into a trade but the idea is still valid, you just got stopped out. And this is one example. So pretty much this is what I said, and I posted on my Twitter, I spoke about it. And however, after this, after the first entry, which was before we hit that weekly, I actually got stopped out. Then I had another entry, right, which was pretty much the top. So I also had posted this picture. Let me just see where it is. Yeah, so this picture where we come above the daily at 68.2. We kind of hang around this weekly at 69.6. We tap that and we come back below 55. Why was that? Now, as I told you, Nasdaq didn't have much support, it could drop quickly. Same thing to Bitcoin. You have nothing between 57 and 64. You have nothing. And all the people that speak about FFG and bounce, what is fair value gap? It's a place where there was no orders. So first you have a reason to come back and fix the place due to market maker policies. Then you have a reason to actually move rapidly through that space because it's a gap in price. It's actually a gap in price. And if we look at, even if we look at, what should we look at? CME, right? Let's look at the CME. This is what I'm saying. You have a gap in orders, pretty much between this place and this place. You have nothing. What happens? Price just plunges because there is no orders. And this is an example from traditional market perspective. Yes, it's Bitcoin, but the same thing, the same principle applies to everything. When you have gap in orders, there's no reason for price to hold there, right? It's common sense. That's why I never understood people that look at fair value gaps and balances. It just doesn't make much sense for me because it's just a gap in price. Now, coming back in the Discord, why did I say it reminds me of the Elon Musk speech at either the SNL or SSL, I forgot the name. Pretty much we're talking about the Dogecoin top back in, I believe, 2021. In 2021 there was a Dogecoin top, which was at the same time Elon Musk was speaking at it was a kind of comedy show, to be exact. So yeah, when that happened, there was a huge drop in a few days, right? And here, similar situation, you have President Trump speaking at a Bitcoin conference. Pretty much the same fundamental event, but you just trade it a bit differently, right? So I got stopped on the first entry, and then I had the second one, where I was talking about 51.7 at, also we had a daily at 49.736. And what happened yesterday? Where did we bounce? 49,736 after cleaning that monthly negative point of control. So yeah, on the high time frames, this was my overall idea. However, we're coming way too fast for that, so we're gonna see how it happens. I'm gonna speak about it in a few minutes. However, pretty much you can see that I had a daily marked out at 57.3, but I was not interested at that level. Even when we came that down, here, let me just show you quickly. This is just a few intraday setups. Let me just come back into it. So yeah, when we were at 58, I was not interested in longing or buying the bottom. I was patient. When you see impulse that is being strong, I advise you to be patient and don't fight the lower time frame trend, especially on that time. You don't have a cash session that's even opened and you want to see a reversal. Why? It doesn't make much sense. By cash session open, I mean the place where you have cash being placed at the market. And what is cash? Cash is actually the thing that moves the market. So by cash session, I'm meaning specifically New York or London, because New York has the biggest turnover, if you think about it. This is the session with the highest amounts of volume, right? So even back here, this is what I was talking about yesterday when I closed the trade. It was a 10-hour trade, by the way. When the COVID crash was compared with that event, I also want to mention, because on Twitter you're gonna see people comparing both, which are actually very different. Why? Because you have, first of all, a fundamental event is gonna trade the same way. Yes, you can have like similarities, but it's not gonna be in the same perspective, right? Even the previous COVID event, there was no all-time high as well, if you want to think about it. So yeah, now